It's not about what you've done, even though they say that. It's about what we think of your team.
Cincinnati is why the college football playoff rankings matter last night. Because they're not just the first team out, they're the sixth team in the top six. They have Ohio State ahead of them. The top four, as of right now, your college football playoff would include Georgia taking on Oregon and Alabama and Michigan State battling for the chance to go to the national title. Now, here's why they don't matter until December the 5th. Because December the 4th, Alabama and Georgia are going to face off.
Right.
And Alabama, if they win, will be in because they would have made it, hypothetically here, to the SEC championship and then won over the number one team in the country. Meanwhile, you have Michigan State that controls itself because they play number 5, Ohio State. And then Oregon, the committee is saying that win over Ohio State is better than anything that Cincinnati has on their unbeaten schedule.
Or will have. I mean,
but
Cincinnati's not going up. Yeah, right. Cincinnati's
Stanford.
Not going up. Cincinnati's the best it can be at 6 because its next 2 games aren't gonna get it up. People are come down, but the people who beat those teams could go up, right? Well,
yes.
You can get your way in and hopscotch in. So it's relatively meaningless. This is just a statement about Cincinnati.
Yeah. The rankings last night mattered because the committee is telling Cincinnati they don't matter.
Not good enough.
I mean, they've said this throughout. I mean, we haven't had it this in our face with a team that's second in the AP and coaches poll to see it. But this has always been a system that's just there for the Power Five. It's just a token bit of gratitude to act like any group of 5 team has a chance to be in the college football playoff. They don't under the current system. If it goes to 12 teams, they'll have a shot, but they do not have a chance, and that's what they're telling us with Cincinnati at 6.
Well, but the reason why you felt like there was a chance is they're number 2 in the country in the AP poll, and they beat Notre Dame at
Notre Dame, which they tell you to go schedule on the road.
Which is not just winning at Notre Dame had a 4-year, a 26-game home win streak, and Cincinnati went in there and beat them, and it wasn't like a fluke victory. And the committee looks at that, and then consider they're weighing the Oregon win earlier in the season against Ohio State. Heavy. And Ohio State, you could argue, is among the top 4 teams in the country just talent-wise, and they are. But Alabama's lost to Texas A&M. It's not like Alabama has beaten anybody that you're just – I mean, the country felt like Florida beat Alabama earlier this year, the way the reaction was. My point here is Cincinnati is deserving of being in the top 4 today. I'm not saying that's how it should be December the 5th, but based on where they are and what they've done to this point against the others in front of them, they have reason to be angry. They may not have that same reasoning December the 5th, even if they are unbeaten. But my point is, if you look at who Alabama's won against versus who they lost, what Cincinnati has done to their record and what they've done to this point, Oregon losing to Stanford. I mean, you can nitpick all you want and still point at Cincinnati and say, you know what, they are deserving of a top 4 spot today.
What they're saying is Oregon's win at Ohio State combined with a bad loss at Stanford, where I know they had a bunch of guys out. Their offensive coordinator was out with COVID. I think Joe Moorhead that week also. There's a lot of excuse making about that as well and the circumstances around their loss. But they're saying that combination is still greater than breaking a 26-game winning streak on the road at Notre Dame.
And
here's the other thing they're saying, too. They're putting a lot of stock in Alabama blowing out Ole Miss and Mississippi State because those are teams 16 and 17. Shocked a lot of people.
3 lost teams, though, right?
Ole Miss is 2 losses. Mississippi State has 3 losses. Mississippi State is riding the coattails of A&M, NC State, and Kentucky. Those are 3 top 25 wins for Mississippi State, even though they're a 3-loss team. So they're putting a lot of stock in that for Alabama. Here's the other thing they've done. Alabama's still going to be in if they lose to Georgia. I fully expect that.
They should not.
Because Alabama is, if they get there, they will beat Auburn, who right now is 13th in the rankings, giving them another top 15 win. What they are showing now is, and this is where I think this college football playoff has done almost irreparable harm to the top of college football. They have created such a divide between Alabama, Ohio State, The one area I give them credit is Oklahoma got hosed in this deal. They are the only 9-0 team in America, and they are 8th, which speaks to exactly what I said yesterday. They have looked awful at times, even though they are 9-0. They looked awful against Tulane. They looked awful against Kansas. They looked good for a half against Texas, but obviously Texas isn't valued that much right now. They almost lost to a Nebraska team that's not going to go to a bowl game. So all of those things combined leads the committee to put Oklahoma at 8. That's the one thing that's different. But what we're saying once again is, and I hate when we get in this territory, it's not about what you've done, even though they say that. It's about what we think of your team. And I will raise my hand and say the 2 best teams in America right now are Georgia and Alabama. They got it right at 1 and 2. But it should not be about what I think and who has the most talent. It should be about, here's the body of work, eliminate the name at the top. Where should these teams be?
They should do it blind.
The blind resume test you see in NCAA March Madness time, where it's this team or this team, and I don't think they do that.
In 2017 and 2018, they said if UCF's non-conference was just a little bit better, so Cincinnati's is better. In 2018, they made it like Houston would have gotten in, but for their conference stumbles. They beat Oklahoma, right? So by those 2 standards, Cincinnati has met what they indicated you need to do. And now that's not good enough. Cincinnati in the same conference as Houston. Notre Dame's a better win than 2018 Oklahoma win was. Indiana's better on the road as an additional thing. And that's not good enough. But here's my biggest point. Because I feel like what they're saying is Cincinnati won't do as well in the playoff as these other big teams. But Ubben at The Athletic points out, without letting in one of these outsiders, group of 5s, semifinal games have been won by 39, 38, 35, 31, 27, 21, and 20 points. So why the hell not let somebody else in and see if they can't do just as well or better?